In the American Southwest deserts, some ancient creatures sleep beneath the dust. Some are composed of stone, whereas others are built of bone. The desert conceals a crater that is unaffected by time, a disappearance unexplained, and enormous sculpted figures that no human could have observed them from below. What are we not meant to learn? Why are we here? Subterranean voices reverberate even when there isn't a person speaking. Are you prepared to get cozy? Inhale deeply and hold your pillow tight due to the fact that you are about to listen to a marked mystery. Dome of upheaval. The history of the Utah desert is layered. It is shrouded in stillness, deep beneath the rock, and sometimes it's written in stretchy scars. In the center of Canyonlands, 4 kilometers, Utah National Park is encircled by a level plain. There's a wound on the painted stone and mesas, something no one can explain in the earth. Although they refer to it as an upheaval dome, it's really a dome that isn't a crater, and the reason is that nobody is aware of it from the sky yet. It appears to be the outcome of a huge impact, a crater that is more than 3 miles across, covered with a core of twisted rock. Tourists walk to an uplift that feels strange, to the edge and look down in anticipation of seeing a clear explanation, a date, a sign, and a cause. But this location was devoid of all. Originating 170 million years ago, and even geologists nowadays cannot agree on what caused it. Some claim that it was a salt dome collapse that was pushed by ancient salt all the way up, then dropped once again. According to others, it's the remains of a cosmic collision. However, the fact that there is no meteorite is problematic, no pieces without an iridium coating or shock quartz. It's an individual's tiny fingerprint, a crater without a real impact crater. Hikers standing in the middle of upheaval dome talk about odd feelings of pressure as well as awe. Some people get headaches, while others feel queasy. Some people say their phones are dying, either immediately or independently resuming in a short while. A German geology team was sent out in 2004 with sensitive magnetic devices that they observed were unforeseen variations in the localized chaotic magnetic field, as if the Earth's subsurface was still responding, but not to the volcanic core or tectonic plate border. A flawless wound that continues to pulse for a long time after it ought to have recovered much earlier. Scientists arrived with their hypotheses. The Navajo and Ute people stayed away from this. In oral history, they discuss a depression, not only a depression, but a hole in the world, but a gateway that once opened in rock, allowing something to crawl out or fall in. A park ranger was informed by an elder in the 1970s a fire was consumed there from the sky, while the fire below is still burning. The birds won't fly over it because of this. Indeed, not many birds circle above. No nests, no migration route. Upheaval Dome is just aerial dead air. Imaging in 2011 displayed an odd and flawless spiral design softly engraved into the formation's southern edge. It is not a trail, not erosion, as some people think, not a naturally occurring formation of water and wind over millions of years, but others indicate that it aligns. The spiral is pointing straight at the sunrise during the summer solstice and corresponds with the same extent as the spiral petroglyph discovered. Is it a coincidence that it's 100 meters away? A formation that is older than it appears to be geologically, but mythologically. In 1996, a group of cave mappers made an effort to investigate the lower rock folds below Upheaval Dome with ground penetration radar. The apparatus broke down after about 40 minutes. Her technician commented that it was similar to shining a light on a stone and absorbing something and receiving nothing in return. The signal, according to some, the formation is not just thick, but also protected by something that rock doesn't protect against, salt or radar. Magnetometers are not confused unless it isn't just rock, unless this crater wasn't produced naturally. A crater with no influence, a signal without a memory, an echo engraved on the land, but never outlined. Why we refer to it as the Upheaval Dome? What if it was more than simply a dome? It was a seal, and the desert was far away. Beneath the sand, something more awaits. Though not ancient, it is yet forgotten. It is active. The desert giants of Blythe and Nazca. There are stories too huge to see from the ground, legends that you must ascend above to even acknowledge their presence. In the hot desert close to Blythe, California, just off the highway, unnoticeable to massive human figures that travelers encounter are etched into the ground, old, remote, yet still not fully understood. This is the enigma of the Blythe geoglyphs in the desert of Nazca. Nobody noticed the giants until they were almost extinct. In 1931, pilot George Palmer was passing over the basin of the Colorado River when he noticed something that appeared similar to a massive human body resting flat on the desert floor. The 95-foot-long arms and the extended head were nicely rounded, balanced, with nobody on the ground who knew it existed for the following year. There were at least 6 giants discovered, geoglyphs with anthropomorphic shapes among them. Spirals and creatures are dispersed throughout the hills of the desert, all invisible from ground level, all of which were scraped, removing the dark rock on the surface to reveal lighter earth underneath. A technique observed in North America, nowhere else at this scale, to which the earliest estimations assign them more than a millennium ago, yet some claim they are far more recent and unfamiliar. Mojave and Quant tribes in the area acknowledge the forms as spiritual beings, maybe legendary giants or celestial beings who arrived to instruct, then left. One figure is thought to symbolize Mustamo, a creator god with his arms raised, yet this is the issue that these cultures were unable to see the figurines without any mountains in the background, no high vantage point at the proper position, no points without a documented explanation. These giants appeared as though they were created so that the sky could see them, or someone in the sky could see them. In 2002, one of the tribe elders was interviewed for a documentary. He stated, "They weren't designed with us in mind, but were created for the viewers. We were told to abandon them." During 1974, preservation efforts by workers discovered something strange close to one of the humanoid glyphs. One footprint in the compacted dirt. Larger particles are forced deeply into it. A man's boot is 17 inches long and 8 inches wide. The weight needed to create that imprint in the crust that has solidified over years couldn't be 500 pounds standing motionless. It was not linked to any on-site equipment, and no further prints were found in the area. Only one that was hidden to prevent damage. The report was archived at that time, discreetly put on hold. In the 1980s, several of the statistics quickly started to decline in spite of conservation efforts. One glyph, a huge spiral, was discovered with tools, partially restored. It was never given the Park Service's approval. Someone had come back to the location and attempted to finish the design but failed. No group claimed the permit that was filed. The accountability. And strangely, the spiral doesn't more closely align with the dawn on the solstice, as it used to have nearly 20 degrees shifted. In 1997, an attempt was made to reprogram it. Campers gathered close to the biggest humanoid at Nazca. Nothing was reported odd until almost before sunrise. The group's oldest member, a Vietnam veteran, claimed to have woken up in the dark and sensed a strong earth vibration such as a low hum that is followed by a crack. He turned to face the sound in the mud. He cursed even though the glyph was still there. The arms were gently repositioned, raised. Nobody took him seriously. But the next morning one of the survey flags used to outline the glyph was located pushed upside down and far into the ground. That night, there was no breeze. Who drew the footprints in the sand? Who drew the giants in the desert? And why would someone create something so big that nobody could observe it for a millennium? Were they messages to the sky, warning maps, or memorials to a once-walking entity here that may continue to observe? Whatever the reality, the solutions aren't buried. They are visible, and some say they are becoming louder. The Lucan Sun Tunnel's disappearance, some locations were never intended to be discovered, and some were constructed to indicate the entrance. In the salt desert in the center of Utah, distant from residences or even a bird singing, stand on the highways four enormous concrete cylinders set up with accuracy in mathematics and in line with the sun. They refer to them as the sun tunnels, a piece of public art, a geometric experiment. But in 2013, someone visited to take pictures of them and never returned. Caleb Ward, 29, was a landscape photographer from Flagstaff, Arizona, renowned for spooky desert vistas and his fascination with minimalist compositions, with the intention of discovering quiet in the desert. On May 17, 2013, he left a friend a voicemail on their way to Lucan. Sunset Cemetery may need to camp. There isn't a signal out there overnight. Concerning, that was the last time nobody heard from him. 3 days after he left, his automobile was located lawfully parked next to the entry road. There were water, snacks, a printed star chart, and a notebook in the passenger seat. His tripod was vanished, as was his phone. His camera was discovered inside one of the tunnels, leaning on a stone that faced the lens cap in the middle of the circle. After the police examined the SD card, they discovered 27 pictures within his DSLR. All of the sun tunnel photos were captured. At 6:42 p.m. in the late afternoon, the pictures ceased, but the video function had a file with the label IMG 2884OV. The video was time-stamped at 6:44 p.m. It consists of the first 30 seconds of 23 minutes, then displays the sun sinking into the frame. The camera remains motionless in the dark all the time, but the sound recording is what made investigators uneasy. 13 minutes in, a subtle, rhythmic metallic ringing starts, throbbing as if something were hitting a hollow deep subterranean pipe. At 18 minutes, a faint breath is heard, followed by a voice. The male murmurs, "I see the line now." Additionally, the footage ends when search teams inspected the area. They discovered no signs of blood, no struggle, and no footprints outside of Caleb's first moves, but 100 feet away from the sun holes in the salt that had solidified on the flats, they discovered a faintly charred shape that formed a precise hexagon in the white crust, around 12 feet across with no tire marks or tools close by. It had only slightly moved the salt, darker as if a big object had been squeezed down and disappeared. The abnormality diminished during a downpour the week after. Satellite photos reveal no evidence of it ever being there. The artist who constructed the tunnels, Nancy Holt, created them to complement the solstices and some constellations, although some tourists say that the tunnels at sunrise and sunset emit a sound that is too faint to hear, but powerful enough to experience something paranormal. The site was tested by researchers in 2016. They brought microphones with high sensitivity. They recorded a subharmonic pulse at 17 Hz, in line with vibrations connected to infrasound, the same disorientation that is frequently employed in military experiments for crowd control. Caleb's last note was found inside his glove, a handwritten note. "The tunnels sing at nightfall," the section read. "Something in the sky behind them hears them." A desert attracts a photographer making a noise that wasn't intended to be captured, and a flawless geometric imprint that remains, similar to a timely stamp. The desert is silent, loudly, though occasionally it sings, and it occasionally requires others who listen as well. You've now observed 3 of the oddest, most eerie, and quietest enigmas concealed in the American desert. However, the quiet is never empty out here. It watches and waits. And now we would like to know which of these mysteries most troubled you. State that we ought to investigate next. Leave a comment with your theory. Subscribe and share with a thought-provoking person. They have witnessed everything since the next episode. Wherever we go, we might not be able to return. A noteworthy mystery has just been revealed to you.